Hello, everyone. We're just about to get started. Sorry for a little technical issue for a second there. We just want to let you know, those of you that just joined us right at 11, that we will be recording. So if you want to remain private, just keep your cameras off, and that I'll be in the background. So if you have any questions, you can send a message in your chat. We're doing a little bit of adjustments here, and then we will just get started. Welcome to November 2023 edition. Lost my PowerPoint. I don't know what's happening. We're losing everything here. Batteries for what? The mic? Uh-oh. Okay, guys, sorry about this. I'm not sure what happened. My meeting keeps kicking me out, so I'm just going to go with what you can see, it looks like. I'm Amber Beebe in the background on recording and chat, and soon you'll be seeing Jen in the kitchen. And so we're excited. Today is going to be the Thanksgiving November cooking class. And we're the bariatric dietitians at St. Luke's. And we'll be leading you through some fun recipes today that are focused on a lot of great side dishes that you may want to have for your Thanksgiving meal. Before I jump over to Jen, here are some basic announcements. We'll be keep in mind that you need to be signed up for every cooking class to receive the email. If you want to attend the live class, check your MyChart account to assure you're still signed up for future classes that you're interested in. And if you happen to be watching the recorded version of this class and would like to receive copies of the recipes, please send a request to bariatricsupport@slhs.org. Let's switch over to Jen in the kitchen and see what she has in store for us today.
And then push the screen down a little bit for me. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to November's cooking class here. Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry for the little bit of a bumpy start. All of a sudden, my microphone battery just died. So I had to rush and grab some batteries real quick while Amber was doing those announcements. So again, thanks for joining us this month. This is our bariatric monthly cooking class where we like to do a lot of different interesting, tasty, and of course, nutritious recipes for you. And being as that it is November, the theme is Thanksgiving, right? And we want to give you a lot of options here. And in the recipe attachment that you received in the message for today, you have the recipes that we're doing in class, in addition to several recipes that we've done in the past. So if you've already looked at that, we're not doing everything on that list today. That would be far too much. But we wanted to give you a lot of options, things that we've done in the past, plus what we're adding this year. And we really are going to be focusing on sides because usually the meat is kind of a constant. It's usually turkey in some way, or it might be ham or whatever it is that you end up liking to do. But, you know, sometimes it's the sides where we struggle a little bit with what's the dessert, what's the vegetable, what kind of different things can we have that are going to taste really good and they're still going to be good for us and keep us on track as much as possible on a holiday. So what we're going to start out with here first today is our roasted carrots. And we're going to do some roasted carrot sticks, and we're going to make a garlic yogurt sauce that's going to go on top of these at the end. But first we need to get our carrots in the oven because they do need a little bit of time to cook and get all nice and brown and caramelized in the oven. So I've got my tray here of already pre-cut carrot sticks that Amber so kindly did for me. And I'm just going to drizzle this oil here on top. We want to kind of give a bit of a coating there so that the seasonings will stick to the carrots, because we're gonna do some seasonings here. If you like to do roasted vegetables, you know, the basic go-to recipe, I think, is just the oil and then a little bit of salt, or maybe just some salt and pepper. So really kind of simple there. It's always an easy thing to do, really, I think, with just about any roasted vegetable. And then getting it into the oven at 400, 450, you know, somewhere around in there, and that'll just affect your time frame a little bit. With harder vegetables like this, of course, needs a little bit longer. With something a little bit softer, like broccoli, for example, that's going to cook a little bit faster, so you won't need as much time for those in the oven. So now that I've got the oil all spread around on my different carrot sticks, I'm going to add my flavor. So we do have salt and pepper in here, but we also have some onion powder and some garlic powder. This is just going to add that little extra layer of flavor here that is really going to go nicely with a lot of the other dishes that we typically have. You know, onion and garlic kind of go in a lot of things when we're having our different dishes at Thanksgiving. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to lefty try and, because my right hand's all covered in oil, try and get this a little bit stirred up. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle it on. And I am going to toss these again with my oily hand. But I'm just going to try and get this distributed around here. That's pretty good for a lefty hand. There we go. Just so we can get some good coverage, right? We want the flavor to be pretty evenly distributed throughout the carrots. And what we also want to think about when we're getting these all put together is we really want to spread these out as much as possible. I mean, you really want to try and get as close to a single layer as much as you can. When they're really, really tight together, they do have a little bit of a tendency to start to steam a little bit more. And we want a little bit more of that caramelizing, roasting kind of effect here. So this is a pretty tight pan. You know, I might actually think about putting these in 2 pans if I was doing this in my own home, but I'm not. So they're going on 1 pan. That's how it's happening. So I've got these pretty well evened out. I'm going to go ahead and pop them in the oven. We've got it at 450, and we're going to put them in for about 15 minutes or so. And then I'm going to pull that back out. We're going to put the Parmesan on top. Parmesan makes things better, right? We're going to pop it back in, let it go for a few minutes to let that Parmesan get nice and melted and really stick to the carrot sticks. If you do it all together, you're going to be likely to burn your Parmesan and not have your carrots done yet. With any kind of vegetable, Brussels, anything else where you're doing some kind of cheese topping like this, it really tends to turn out better if you get the vegetables roasted almost all of the way, pull them back out, sprinkle the cheese on top, and then pop them back in. And then you'll get a kind of a good even cooking there between the vegetable and that cheese that you're putting on top. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these in the oven. I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to do it for about that 15-minute mark. And you know, if you like your carrots longer, you know, or more done, I guess we'll say, you can leave them in longer. I tend to like mine a little bit browner. I might even put mine in here for 25 minutes. So it really just kind of depends on your preference with that. So we've got those in the oven. We're going to go ahead and take a break. I'm going to pass it back to Amber. We'll get ready for the next recipe. See you in a minute.
All right, everyone. I have a couple of announcements about changes in our cooking class schedule. December, it is moved to the second Friday of the month, which is December 8th. And our next Healthy Living series is every Tuesday, starting January 9th from 11:30 to noon. And we will be talking about building healthy habits. Changes will be reflected under appointments in your My Chart account. Be sure to look there for the most current dates and times. We always try to inform you of upcoming changes as we typically know well ahead of time. But you can your catch-all is just checking there for current dates a week or two before the classes. While those carrots are roasting, I want to just let you know, many of you know the health benefits of carrots, but we always like to talk about these things. They're really great for digestion, which is super helpful after surgery with potential digestive issues, boost your immune system. We all know about the improving your eyesight, preventing cancer. There's just so many great things about carrots. So I think we're ready to head back to Jen.
We are ready to go again. You know how Thanksgiving is. It's kind of a juggling act, right? And we're trying to get all of the things going and in the oven and doing this and doing that. So we're going to be bouncing around here a little bit today to make sure we get things cooked and prepped within the hour that we're working in here today. So our next recipe is going to be Brussels. Stick with me on that. Okay, Brussels can be really good if you've only had them boiled and mashed. come back, try it again, right? This is a really tasty way to do it. I think roasted Brussels sprouts, very similar to like what we're doing with the carrots, is a fantastic way for a basic Brussels recipe. You just toss it in the oil, give them some salt. You can add those other seasonings, leave it off, put it in the oven, and then in the last few minutes, sprinkle that Parmesan cheese on top. It's a really, really flavorful way to enjoy your Brussels sprouts, but we're going to jazz it up because it's Thanksgiving and this is special, right? It's a holiday. So we're going to do a little bit something different and better, just add a nice pop of flavor. And the great thing is when we're adding these pops of flavor, we're also adding a lot of nutrition into the mix. So it's a really great 2-for-1 deal. So we've got our bowl here of, it's a 14 to 16 ounces of some Brussels sprouts. So right around there is just fine. And we've just shredded those up or sliced those rather thin. So we got kind of the thin pieces. You can kind of see, there we go, like that. If you are fortunate enough to find them already pre-shredded, good for you. Kind of hit and miss for me. And this time we didn't find it. So Shirley, our gal pal who beautifies all of this for us, shredded those up, cut those up for us. So we got these ready to go. We're going to go ahead and add our apples, 1 apple diced. We're going to go ahead and sprinkle that into the bowl, kind of give them a little bit of a toss here, just mix them together a bit is what we want to do there. And then of course, as always, we do want to add our little bit of oil, right? So we've got our avocado oil this time. If you have olive oil, that's fine too. Extra virgin olive oil is super healthy for you. So that would be a good use as well. I like to use the avocado oil in cases like this because it does cook better at a high temperature. If you're really cooking things higher than that 350-degree mark, I think it's better to move to avocado oil than to use the olive oil. Olive oil is a little more fragile. So we want to be gentle with that. Also, avocado oil is very bland. If you don't want to change the flavor much of what you're doing, using avocado oil is fantastic. If you don't mind that little extra pop of flavor with the olive oil, that's also a great choice. So it kind of depends on what you're going for there. So we're going to go ahead and get that all tossed, and I'm gonna season this a little bit. Add a little bit of some salt here, a little bit of pepper. Yeah. There we go. And again, we're just going to toss this up and get it well incorporated and all mixed together. We want to get that good even coating is what we're looking for here. And then we're going to pop this into the oven with the carrots. They can be partners in there. We're going to put this on our, again, lined baking sheet. You know, if you don't line the sheet, it's cleanup is so much harder. So if you got yourself some parchment paper, that works really well. If you have some of those reusable sheets, those are great. The Silpats or the other brands now that you can find out. I actually asked for some of those for Christmas a couple of years ago because I got tired of using parchment paper or cleaning up my cookie sheets all the time. So we're going to pop this in. And this one, not quite as long, yeah, about 15 minutes. And that's about right for this. They go pretty quick. So that's the nice thing with the Brussels is because they're a little bit softer, they don't need as much time. So now I'm going to get to my other timer here. And I'm going to set it. Nope, that's not right. My other timer for 15 minutes. Hold on, I got it. I can't find, there's my timer. So 15 minutes in there. And then what we're going to do also is we're going to go to another little bit of a commercial break here. And I'm going to get set up to make the sauces that's going to go with all of this really quick and easy. So I'm going to give Amber a minute to chat with you, and I'll be right back.
All right, everyone. Back again for another break. We got a couple breaks today. We had a lot of things we're making, a lot of sauces, different things. I would love, love, love some interactivity, though. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let's see. We want to know, what are your favorite tips, kind of your shortcuts for when preparing the Thanksgiving meal or any holiday meal? What are some of your shortcuts? I'll share one of mine, and then you can pop in the chat some of your shortcuts. I pre-make my mashed potatoes or mashed cauliflower, and I put them in a crock pot because nobody wants cold mashed potatoes. So they are always ready when dinner is getting served. I've got the crock pot ready full of mashed potatoes. So share what your shortcuts are in the chat, please. I see Teresa is typing. Got some, please. Prep as much before during the week. Amen to that. That's a great idea. This is a great one you can prep ahead too, the one we're doing. We're not, I don't know if we're doing the cauliflower quite yet. I don't think so. But the cauliflower patties, those are easy to prep ahead. Basically everything. Always brine a turkey. Yes, definitely. I learned that years ago too. There was a lot of years that I did not do that. That is a great suggestion, Ken. Brine the turkey ahead of time can be much more. And as bariatric patients, you all need salt. So I like Ken's suggestion because you need more salt. It looks like Jen is ready. So thank you for your participation. We'll go right back to Jen.
Yeah, and feel free to add more. I always like the prepping ahead of time. I think Thanksgiving should be a day of relaxation to a certain extent, and I think that should include the cook. So I know we like to try and do as many things ahead of time so that we can just enjoy our time hanging out together, playing games, watching football if you're a football fan, whatever it is that you like to do. So these are all things that you can do ahead of time, at least with these sauces. In fact, I think it's actually nicer with some of these to get these done ahead of time. And what we've got here, we got a few things going on. First of all, we need to get the garlic yogurt sauce completed for our carrots. Really easy with this one. We've got our yogurt and we've got plain Greek yogurt, but it is full fat. Okay, if you go the fat-free, the flavor is not going to be quite the same. And so we really like that mouth texture. And honestly, we don't want to miss out on some of the healthy fats that actually come with the dairy products that we consume. So I know we had that low fat craze a long time ago, and that's still just like holding on, white knuckling it, trying to stay with us. But we really need to try and develop some comfort with having our full fat or at least some fat in our dairy products as much as we're able to handle. So it also adds better flavor. That's worth something too, right? Okay, so we've got our yogurt and we've got a whole cup of yogurt here and just a couple simple ingredients. We've got some olive oil and I've got some garlic in here. What do I have? I've got 1 clove of garlic minced up. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to put that here into my bowl with the yogurt. Salt and pepper, right? That's it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, as they say. And we're just going to give it a bit of a stir just to get really well incorporated. So again, I would do this ahead of time. Stick it in the fridge. You can do it the day before, a couple days before, totally fine to do that. Really get those flavors to meld in there together and really give it a good stir. You know, you want to get it really good and mixed and incorporated together. But I always like easy, you know, like if we can get full flavor, some really good flavor and not have something that takes 500 steps and 5 days before the holiday, other than the turkey maybe, right? Because we do have to think about that ahead of time with thawing and brining. And if we smoke it, that takes some time. But that's it. Yogurt sauce. Bada bing, bada boom. We're done. So that's the one. And then we have our aioli. Now, aiolis, we're not making an actual traditional aioli. With a traditional aioli, which is basically kind of like a flavored mayonnaise, you actually would take your olive oil and you would drizzle it and you would whip it and you would kind of get that mayo kind of a consistency with the agitation of that. And then you'd put in your other ingredients to add the flavor. We're just going to go the easy way. We're going to use some mayo that was already put together for us, pre-made. Right, so we've got our avocado oil mayo. If you're able to afford that and fit that into your budget, and you happen to use mayonnaise pretty consistently, I think it's a good thing to try. It's made with avocado oil, which is far more healthy for you than a lot of the oils that are used in your standard mayonnaise, like the canola, like the soybean. So some of those a little bit more inflammatory type oils. So what we're going to do, just again, a couple basic ingredients here, nothing too crazy, but we are going to have our 1 cup of mayonnaise and then we're going to add some garlic. So I've got 3 cloves of garlic here. That may seem like a lot, but I think you're going to appreciate that in here, especially if you love garlic. So we're going to put this in and we're going to put in our lemon juice, 2 tablespoons, 2 to 3. I think 3 is better. I think that's what we've got here. It depends on how much you like that lemony punch, but it does add a lot. And then a couple tablespoons of some olive oil. Again, just to kind of help get a good dippy kind of a consistency is what we're going for here. And then we do want to add some salt. It is going to need a little bit of salt to help really enhance that flavor of the garlic and of the lemon. And we've got a little pinch of cayenne. And you don't have to put the cayenne in if you don't want to, or you can try just a little bit to kind of add just a little bit of a tiny zing underneath. We've got a decent pinch here that we're going to put in, and then you can always kind of flavor it to taste. You can add more salt, you can add less. You can use more cayenne, you can use less. Maybe you like smoked paprika, that could be pretty good. So we're just gonna stir that up. Now this can go with the carrots. This could go with a vegetable plate as a dip. This could go with your meats, and you can spread it over different meats that you have on a burger, on roasted chicken, chicken breast if you've got that. This is really good too if you have some dippable version of a meat like chicken, chicken fingers, something like that, non-breaded, of course, unless you're making pork rind breading. But that's pretty much all we got. That's it. Bada bing, bada boom again. So all done with that guy. And then what we've got over here is our vinaigrette. And I'm going to actually turn this on so we can start cooking while I'm telling you about it. The vinaigrette is going to go with the Brussels salad. Now you can buy it. I did put that on the recipe, the skinny girl version of a raspberry vinaigrette. There are others out there. They do tend to be, fairly chock full of sugar, depending on which one you choose. And that's kind of the nature of the beast a little bit with the raspberry piece. But we have here a homemade raspberry vinaigrette where the only contributor of the sugar is the actual raspberries. Everything else in there that's flavoring this is either going to be sugar-free or just wouldn't naturally contribute any sugar anyway. So what we did is we took some frozen raspberries, we took a cup of those, we warmed those up to get them good and soft, mashed those with some balsamic vinegar, let that sit for a little bit to break down and really push that through a sieve to get all the good juice coming out of that. And then we added the rest of the ingredients. We had another tablespoon of some balsamic vinegar. We've got a couple tablespoons in here of the brown sugar swerve. So the brown sugar erythritol sweetener has gone into that. A little bit of salt in there as well, and just a little bit of pepper. So nothing too crazy. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to make a reduction. So we're going to reduce it by about half, right? It doesn't have to be perfect, but we're trying to get it thickened up a little bit. And it's going to make this really nice, flavorful punch to that balsamic salad that we are making. And it's going to go really well with the other toppings that we're going to put on it at the end. So we're going to go ahead and let that simmer for a while. I think my carrots are telling me they're ready for the Parmigiana. So we're going to pull that out right now. Hello, carrots. How are you doing? All right, so I know you can't see very well. Let me see here. I'll try and kind of do this without burning myself. So we got our Parmesan. We're just going to sprinkle. All right, just going to kind of spread it around here a bit and get that all, try and do it evenly. There we go. Yeah. Now Parmesan's a really good cheese, right? It's aged. It's got a lot of vitamin K. It's a pretty good, actually, source of protein as far as cheeses go. Obviously tastes amazing. So we're going to go ahead and pop this back in for about another 5 minutes. Let that sucker go and do its good work there in the oven. And we're going to take another really quick break here. I'm going to let Amber share a little bit more information with you, and then we'll be back to work on the next recipe. All right, you guys, don't go anywhere.
All right, everybody, just switching over to our break screen. Sorry about that. I wanted to talk a little bit about, we didn't get to talk about the benefits of Brussels sprouts. So many people, I don't know, I see them at the store. I'm guessing people love them. I love them. And I don't think I did as a kid or even as a young adult, but they are just low calorie. They've got 4 grams of protein per serving. And this is a cup, which we know you won't be eating a cup of Brussels sprouts. 56 calories. They're high fiber. Great source of vitamin A. So they're just really good for arthritis, joint pain, things like that. So it's a great vegetable for you to have. And then also just a quick couple of benefits of Greek yogurt. right? A lot of people in our program have been, really enjoying the sugar-free Greek yogurts, and they do help keep you full longer. They're more nutritious, of course, than regular because regular yogurt has a ton of sugar. They've got more protein, but they also give you something that's really helpful, which is the microorganisms and the live bacteria that's in the yogurt that can really help you with your digestion. So I just wanted to give you a couple of those pointers. I think we're actually going back to Jen. Are you ready?
Mostly.
Mostly.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to switch over. Um, just be sure also, because I'm watching the chat. So if you have any questions along the way, I'm happy to send you a message. I'm going to follow up. Someone asked about the My Chart app, and I'm going to have someone send you a link for that. The person that did ask about the app. So we'll be sure that you can see that. Okay, I'm turning off my mic and heading back over to Jen.
All right, your turn's over. You're all done, Amber, right? Okay. All right, guys. Hey there. We are back over here in the kitchen, and we're going to do something a little bit different because one of the stereotypical sides in Thanksgiving is mashed potatoes. And that's it's a favorite for a lot of people, right? Kind of a like American meat and mashed potatoes, right? And it goes along with Thanksgiving for a lot of us. However, if we're trying to make some different changes, if we're trying to work on our health, maybe work on some weight loss, if we've had a weight loss surgery and we need to think about trying to dial down the carbohydrates a little bit, then we have to look for alternatives. And I know a lot of our patients have tried mashed cauliflower or done cauliflower in different versions, rice cauliflower, cauliflower mac and cheese, right? There's all sorts of different things. So you could go with a standard mashed cauliflower. It's really simple. You just boil up and cook up or steam up your cauliflower. And then you're just going to add some butter, maybe salt or seasonings, whatever you might add to just kind of a basic recipe of mashed potatoes. That's what you're doing here. And then if you want to doll it up with some cheese or a few bacon bits or some garlic and whatever you want to put in there, that sounds great. Do that. That can be your mashed potatoes. We'll say, but if you want to just do something a little different, or if you need something that you want to do, use these as leftovers, this is another great option as well. And these are basically some cheesy mashed cauliflower pancakes. What? Pancakes, right? So we're doing a savory mashed pancake. And what I've got here is about 4 cups of pre-made mashed cauliflower, just the salt and the butter in there. And I've got it cooled. So it's nice and cool. It's, dried out a little bit. It's going to form into patties a little bit easier that way. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in about 2 cups. There we go. Of some shredded mozzarella cheese. I don't think you have to use mozzarella. I think you could use cheddar if you had that. Just one of those other basic kind of cheeses would be fine. But this one kind of blends in really nicely. So it just depends, I think, on your preference there. So we've got that. And we know it also is going to melt really well. So we're going to do that. And then we need to have an egg, right? This is going to help it bind up a little bit. So we want to have that in there. And then we're also going to have some other flavors and binders. So we've got some almond flour in here. So instead of standard flour, we're going to use some almond flour. You could use other options too, like an arrowroot flour or something else like that, a little tapioca starch to kind of get this coming together. But that is what we've got in here. We also have some chives to add some flavor to that. And then, of course, some salt, right? Because salt is a flavor enhancer. We want to make sure we have a little bit of salt in there going on. So I've got all of that, and I'm going to stir this in, and then I'm going to check the oven because both of my timers are going off and telling me that it's done. And I'm not too worried about getting on it immediately because if it goes an extra minute, it's going to be okay. We're just going to stir this together and get all of this nice and incorporated. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make little patties out of this. So you do want to think about the texture that you have here. You might have to add a little bit of extra flour, like the almond flour, to it, just to add a little bit more stiffness and dryness to it so you can work with it with your hands. And that probably can turn that. I think my vinaigrette's probably pretty good. So we've got this all, I think, pretty well mixed together. I think Amber's trying to help out, pull those things out. What do you think, Amber? Are they done? All right. Amber's on it. She's all over. It's good. All right, there's our carrots. We're going to hand those off to Shirley, our beautification expert. She's going to take care of that for us. But let me show you the carrots here really quick, and the Brussels maybe. Can you hand me a, yeah, that. Thanks, those. I'll take both. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I know. Try not to burn myself. I'm going to do this without burning myself, Mish, if you're watching. I promise. No accidents, no workman's comp. It'll be fine. Okay, here are our carrots. So this is about 20, well, maybe 21 minutes by the time we got it out there. Right, so we've got our carrots. Oh yeah, that looks good. That's a good shot. Little seasoned. The Parmesan is melted pretty nicely. I'd say 5 minutes. You wouldn't want to go longer than that because we're starting to get some of the extra cheese there browned on the bottom. But what was on the carrots is perfect. And then we got our Brussels here. A little bit of browning, nothing too crazy, a little steamy there. So we've got some browning around the edge, and then we've got some that aren't quite as browned. I think it's going to be a good mix. We got a little bit of caramelization, a little bit of good roasting going on there. So I'll set these aside as well. And Shirley will work her magic once she's ready to touch those hot pans. There we go. Okay, so I got my hot pan right here, and we are just going to create some small patties. And you can make these really any size you want to. We thought maybe a little bit smaller would be better. And they just need to be, again, dry enough that you can form, you know, just a small guy like that. There we go. Something kind of like that, if you're able to see it. That's a little better. There we go. And we're gonna put it right in here. Woo! That's hot. All right, good, we got it. You guys probably can't even hear that, right? It's sizzling. I can see it smoking, yeah. So, you know what you also could do? It's spitting at me. What you also could do is make them bigger and cut them. You could do that, and that would be fine as well. Now, I'm making these a little bit bigger already, not intentionally. I turned it down already a little bit. So hopefully, there we go. Oh, and you know what I forgot to do, Amber, already? Here it is. Boom. We got our panko in front of us. You guys, I don't know if you watched this before, a pork rind panko. Well, there's a few that won't have panko. If there's anyone who doesn't like that. But instead of actual panko with breadcrumbs, we got the pork rind panko. And if you're able to see that little canister right there, that's the pork rind panko. And it's just pork rinds ground up, right? Kind of broken up for you. And you can buy those at Walmart. That's where we've been getting them. There she goes. She's going to get us the close up there. Your close up, Mr. DeVille. Woo! There it is. There we go. I'm all messy now. I'm going to get one more. I'm going to get one more in there. What we also found is we can actually cook these really nicely in the oven. Really handy. Now, if you want to get it done fast, you can do it in the stovetop. But if you want to get them all done and lay them out on a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper, then you can plug them into the oven. And then halfway through, you're going to want to flip them so you get some nice even browning. And then you're done. You don't have all of this business going on. Not everyone likes this. I got to wipe this off. So we're going to give those a flip there here in a minute. Actually, I'm probably going to flip the first ones right away because I think they're probably ready. So you're just looking for a good browning. You know, that's kind of what we're going for here. And enough oil in the pan just to make sure they're not sticking. And then, you know, you kind of just got to watch them. But the pork rinds are going to add a really nice little crust. And that's what we're going for, right? Because sometimes after we've had weight loss surgery, we miss the crust, right? The breading that goes on that we kind of missed. And I think we have a question out there in TV land. What's the question, Amber? I'm inclined to say yes. I don't know why not. I think that would be a great way to do it. So who's saying that? Who's Amber? Okay, you have an assignment now. Your assignment is to make this recipe and try them in the air fryer and then let us know how it goes so we can add that in. Because yeah, I don't know why you couldn't do it in an air fryer. I think that would be a great way to do it, especially if you don't want to do the stovetop or your oven's already busy, or that's just what you like to use because it's convenient and you don't need as much oil to do it that way, right? So I think that's a fantastic idea. So I'm gonna let these cook a little bit more. We'll get a couple more of these done. Then we have one more recipe that we can move to here in a minute. And that's going to be the dessert or breakfast. It's really however you want to think about it, really. But we're going to move to that. So I'm going to move these along here a little bit more. And then we'll go ahead and we'll move over to that chaffle. I'm going to let Amber give you a little bit more information. We'll take that break. And then we will come right back.
Okay, everybody, got some more Thanksgiving questions for you. Let me get to my beautiful break slide here. All right, time for a break. Let me turn off the camera. Sorry. I was going so good the whole time and then I messed that up. That's all right. Okay. Let me see. We would love for you to share in the chat what your favorite side dishes are at your Thanksgiving table. So most people's favorites are stuffing, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, green bean casserole, mac and cheese, although the top two are stuffing and mashed potatoes. And this is just a funny piece. Deviled eggs. Okay, I know some family members that love those. Also, Arkansas, Alaska, and Idaho, interesting, are among the states that don't like it when their sides touch on their plate. Interesting. That was just a little bit of trivia there. Stuffing. Okay, we have, we didn't do a stuffing today, but I do have, those of you interested, some great, of course, I just searched it up, right? Alternative low carb stuffings, and they have some great recipes out there that use cauliflower. Pumpkin pie. I also had a patient recently ask about pumpkin pie, and I found her a recipe using the sugar alternative called Swerve, heavy cream, eggs, pumpkin spice. And then the crust was made from crushed walnuts and pecans, or just walnuts, or just almonds. There's great ideas out there, and you can have pumpkin pie with very little sugar, which is so awesome. Okay, someone else is, I've got to make deviled eggs. It's never been something because I can't eat eggs, which is so funny, but my family loves deviled eggs. I probably need to make those. Okay. Awesome. Amber says, I make pumpkin pie in a graham cracker crust because I don't like traditional flaky pie crust. Well, it's a little easier to make, honestly, too. And I would just say, if you're a bariatric patient, I don't know if you are or not, this class is open to anyone who wants to take it. But once people have bariatric surgery, we recommend that they don't have a lot of carbs. So we would recommend swapping that out for a nut crust, or there's even a bunch of crustless recipes out there for the pumpkin pie. So I'm going to check and see really quick to see where Jen's out. Not ready. Okay, that's fine. We got some more trivia. Oh, great. You've got a couple more months. Okay, good. I talked to a patient yesterday that was saying her family member wished that she had waited until January to have her surgery. Oh my gosh. Okay. Question for you. Black Friday is the biggest day of the year for what trade profession? What is the biggest day of the year for which trade profession? Black Friday. Any guesses? Retail. That is not the answer. So a trade, more of a trade thinking. Interesting. Concrete guys, someone said. Okay. It's actually plumbers. Is that crazy? I don't know, right? Found that out. Plumbers. All the family visiting, lots of people at houses that maybe don't normally have 15, 20 people at a house. That's the number one, which is kind of funny, really, that plumbers are the biggest day of the year for Black Friday. Okay, any guesses on how long was the first Thanksgiving celebration? The first Thanksgiving celebration. Any ideas on how long it was? 1 week. Close. Close, Ken. Very close. Any other guesses? It's actually 3 days. So 1 week. Someone says, Caitlin. Yeah, it was 3 days. Okay, and here is the last trivia question. How many pumpkin pies are consumed every Thanksgiving? How many pumpkin pies? The big number. Any guesses on that? How many pumpkin pies are consumed every Thanksgiving? Oh, I got some people typing. 1.5 million. Bigger. Bigger than that. A lot bigger than that. Lots, yeah.
Lots.
Yes. 50 million. 50 million pumpkin pies are consumed every year. Is that crazy? 50 million. As many that get cooked but not burnt. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you on that. I make mine the day before just in case. Costco, and they have a great deal. It's a huge pie. You're right. I think Jen is motioning that she's ready to get going on the last item of our recipes today. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
All right.
All right. Well, mostly ready. There we are. There's always one more thing, Amber. Always one more thing that we've got to do that I always forget about, and that's this time to plug in my mixer. There we go. Okay. It's dessert time, people. Or breakfast. It kind of depends on how you like to think about this, right? It's a holiday. We can have dessert for breakfast, and in this case, it's okay because we're going to do a chaffle. And if you have not experienced a chaffle, what's wrong with you? Okay, where have you been? Under a rock? No, come out. Join us. The chaffles are amazing. And if you haven't heard of a chaffle, it's a mashup between cheese and waffle, right? So we've got a cheese-based batter that we use to make a waffle. So stick with me on this one, right? So we've got our eggs. We do have to have eggs. That is part of the batter. And we're just going to whip these up here. I've got 2 eggs. I'm just going to kind of whisk those a little bit, get them stirred up. I've got my waffle maker heating over here. I just have a standard waffle maker. It's nothing special. I know online they've got a lot of the really tiny ones, and a lot of people are investing in those because you get a mini waffle and they're thin and they're crispy and they're really, really nice. This is a little bit more of your standard Belgian type size. And what we're going to do is put everything in there, and then we'll be able to break it up into fourths. I already did that. Thank you. Amber's waving at me. She's like, Jen, don't forget to grease your waffle maker. And I did. I did it before class. I took our avocado oil sprayer. We got a spray bottle. Sprayed that guy down. Okay, stop stirring, Jen. So we've got 2 eggs. We've got 1 cup of shredded mozzarella. You could use another kind of cheese. I think the mozzarella works pretty well in this particular case. Again, it's going to end up looking a little bit more like a standard waffle if we use the mozzarella. Now, one extra step here that's optional that you could do if you wanted to is you could toss this into a blender. I like to do that at home if I'm making chaffles because the basic recipe here is eggs and the mozzarella cheese. And I pop that into a blender. I just think the batter is nicer that way because it's smooth, whereas you do a little bit have the shreddy bits of cheese if you just stir it together like this. But there's nothing wrong with doing it this way. This is easy. perfectly fine to do this, but we're not doing a standard chaffle. We're going to do this maple pecan version here. So we've got to add a few extra ingredients to get that maple and that pecan, a little bit of a vibe going on here. So in this bowl, I've got a half a cup of some almond flour. I've got a couple tablespoons of some of the brown sugar erythritol, and we use the Swerve brand today. I've got a couple tablespoons here of some of the pecan. So we just chop those up, nothing fancy, you know, little pieces of pecan right there. And then in our egg, because it was also wet, so I put those two things together, I've got about 4 to 5 drops of some maple extract. So that's going to really help bring in that mapley flavor into the chaffle here. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump these all in. So we're going to have some sweet, some brown sugary, some mapley, kind of a vibe going on here. And that is going to do it. In fact, I think I'm going to have to get out my little scraper here and do it this way. There we go. Brilliant. So a little bit thicker, but it's going to cook up really nicely. You just put it in there for about the same time frame as you would a standard waffle, right? So nothing too fancy or crazy there. So I'm going to move this way. Am I in frame? Am I in frame? Am I in frame? Yes, I am. Okay. We got our waffle maker right here. Woo! Steamy. Brilliant. So we're going to go ahead and just get this guy in there. And it is a little bit thicker because we added the other ingredients. So I'm going to kind of get it into the middle here. And then I'm going to spread it out. So hopefully we can get a really nice, pretty even shape, right? So hopefully we can get the full waffle chaffle shape going on there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. And we're going to flip it, ba-bam, right there. And then we got to have some topping. I mean, you could just do that as is, right? Put a little butter on top, just eat it as it is. It's going to have a lot of flavor in it. But it's Thanksgiving. Let's jazz it up a little bit, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a maple cream cheese schmear is what we got going on here. So I got my cream cheese, a block of cream cheese. It's been sitting out to come to room temperature, so it's going to beat up a little bit easier that way. So you do want to do that. I think it's always a little bit nicer. I'm tethered here. There we go. To try and break it up a little bit first if you can, just to kind of get it mashed down into the bowl. So we've got that. And then a couple ingredients that we're going to add in. 1 or 2 tablespoons of some whipping cream, just regular old whipping cream. It's a little thick if we don't add that. It's going to spread a little bit easier if we thin that cream cheese just a little bit. So we're going to put that in here. And then we're also going to add some more maple flavor. So in this one, I actually have the Locanto brand monk fruit maple syrup. So we've got that in here, a couple tablespoons of that we've got in here, and a teaspoon of some vanilla, right? Because vanilla usually makes all of those things taste better. So we've got that, and then a teaspoon of some cinnamon. Add a little bit of a cinnamon zip to this guy. So we're going to put that in here, and we're going to hope that we don't make a really big juicy mess with a little bit of a juicy mess to try and get that whipping cream in there. The cream cheese doesn't want to come off of the beaters. They're holding hands, but we're going to get it. It's starting to come off here a little bit. You're going to need to do this for a few minutes. Obviously, you want to start slow. So if you've not done a lot of beating of things, always start on low, right? Because we want to make sure we're not schlepping things around everywhere. And then once it all starts to get a little bit more incorporated, then you can kick up the speed a little bit and you can start to get a little bit of a better whip. And that, now that I was able to do that, that really kicked off all the rest of that cream cheese. And so we'll just do that here. Oh, I can smell the chaffle and I can smell the maple in it. Really good. Okay, let's check on that guy. Yeah. Not looking too bad. I'm going to flip it. Oh, that's good. Okay, I think we're done there with that guy. So we've got our cream cheese. I kind of think a little keeping it at room temperature is a little bit nicer because then it does spread easier. But you do what you want. You can always heat it or stick it in the fridge and have it cool and then just kind of put little like spoonfuls on top of the hot chaffle and let it just kind of ooze all over the place. There might be other applications that you find with this, like a regular cup of coffee, a little bit of dollop of that in there could be kind of a fun flavor to add. We're going to get a plate. I didn't get out a plate for this ahead of time. Oh, no, Shirley has the plate. Shirley has the pretty plates. All right, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and get this guy out of here. It's really hot. I need something. I need this. Here we go. So these do tend to be a little bit wetter than your standard chaffle will be, or I'm sorry, waffle. So don't be surprised if it's a little bit moister than what you're used to texture. So you could eat it as is, or if you wanted to, and this is what we like to do, is we like to put it in the oven and toast it a bit and kind of get a little bit of that toasty crunch on the outside. Or if you're pre-making these ahead of time, which obviously we're all going to do because we want Thursday to be easy, right? So we're going to pre-make them. You can stick them in the fridge, wrap them up really good, or stick them in the freezer a couple weeks ahead of time. Well, now only about a week ahead of time. But then you can bring them out, and again, you can pop them into the oven, and that's where you warm them and give them a little bit of a crunch on the outside, and that texture can be really nice. But we are done with our chaffle. La, 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 la. There we go. And then we've got our maple cinnamon, really, cream cheese spread. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start getting all of this pulled together. We're going to take one little last break, and we are going to dish and doll this up and show you the wondrous variety that we have created in class today. Back at you in a minute.
Okay, everyone, it's that final break. I forgot to put this slide up earlier when I was talking about the Brussels sprouts. I forgot to put it up, so here it is. But I wanted to have our final break really focused on, well, I'll keep it on the Brussels sprout slide for a minute. I would love to hear one thing you're thankful for, to share. I know when my family sits down, we like to talk about what we're grateful for, but we did stop doing it before we ate because our food got cold. So we say a little blessing and then we start eating, and then we go around the table and talk about what we're grateful for. If you want to share something you're grateful for, it could be watching football or playing games with your family, board games, anything that you're grateful for on the holiday. I'd love to hear from you in the chat while they get everything ready to display in our final few minutes. Oh, a new grandson. That is definitely something to be grateful for. All right. Thankful for your health. Yes, definitely. Nieces. Oh, that's awesome. I love seeing family. My nieces are almost 40. But my niece just had a baby, but they live in Canada, so I won't be seeing her for Thanksgiving. I get to see pictures, at least on Facebook. She's adorable. Any other things? Just one thing you're thankful for. I'm thankful as I have started this job recently in August, and I'm thankful for all my coworkers and my patients. I love working for St. Luke's. Thankful for all the time with my children and grandchildren. It does get difficult to get everyone together at the same time. I hear you on that. I'm starting to notice that with my own kids. I have a couple that are grown, and thankfully one of them lives nearby. So I'm very, very grateful. Yes, and yes, Ken, the opportunity to change your personal health. That's amazing. We're grateful that you're here, and we're grateful to be able to cook all these awesome items and share them with you. And I think I'm getting signaled. I think we're going back. So let me get the camera back on.
I turned it off so I could talk to Shirley for a minute, and I thought, remember to turn your mic back on, and I forgot. Okay, so here is everything that we have. So let's start with what we started with, okay? let's go ahead and start with our carrots. So we've got, oh, this really cute little spread right here. So this is how you can go ahead and bring things to a party or lay it out on a table for a group. We've got our roasted carrots here. We've got our little yogurt sauce. We've got a little bit of extra Parmesan and then some chopped pistachios, which will go really nice with this. And then of course you got a little bit more of that right here, which you could go ahead and use with any of the, so this can be a dip for any of the other recipes, vegetables right here, or you can go individually and you can just make cute little cups and then put these little cups inside of that with the vegetables, and then people can just grab it and go and just dip instead of having the whole table thing going on here. And Shirley just found these at the dollar store, so you can just find little cups like this with the lids on it, and you can go ahead and tuck that in there, and that's a great way to also take it to a party for people just to be able to hold and eat. Now, if not everyone likes the yogurt garlic thing, we have our aioli, right? So we've got that right here, garlicky, lemony, a tiny bit of a kick in with this guy. Again, great for the vegetables. You could set that out as well. And then you can also have that for any kind of meats. We found that these went really good with this, which are our little cauliflower pancakes crusted right there. So you could do a sauce on them. They're great as is, but if you want to add a little zip of some flavor, really nice to drizzle or smear some of that on top of these and eat those. And then we want to make sure we don't forget about our Brussels, right? We got our little pile here of our roasted Brussels with our carrots, and we're going to dress it up. Okay, so let's dress it. Got our pomegranates. A lot of great nutrition here with our pomegranates. So we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of those on, adds a lot of color, kind of Christmassy actually, but I think, you know, any holiday is nice. We got our chopped pecans, right? So we're going to add a little crunch and a little bit of healthy fat in with this, some good flavor. I think these would be great toasted, or you can do them raw. Either way is fine. And let's not forget the blue cheese. Ah, so good. So we're just going to sprinkle a little bit of this blue cheese on top here. Yeah, or a lot. All of it's good. And then here is our raspberry vinaigrette reduction in this cute little pourable bottle, right? Very convenient. So we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to drizzle this over the top. Oh yeah, that is good. This could be good on a lot of other things, a different kind of salad. It could go on the chaffle. I think that would be a great way to do it. A lot of really kind of sweet vinegary flavor with that. It goes really nicely with the sweet and the bitter and that creamy flavor that you're going to get from that blue cheese. So there, I'm setting it on top of the vegetables. There we go. All right, you guys. I think we got it all, right? Oh no, the chaffle. Don't forget dessert. Oh my goodness, look at that. That also looks lovely. So we got our full chaffle here, great for breakaways for the quarter. And then we've got a nice, really good looking dollop of the maple cream cheese spread that's going to go on top here. And you can sprinkle a few more pecans on top. That's a nice way to dress it. Certainly you could set those out for people to add if they want to. But again, this could be dessert for you if you do like that maple pecan kind of a vibe, or it can be really fun as the breakfast for the day because these are extremely low in sugar. It's protein and fat. That's what it is. So it's a really great way to start your day if you're looking for something that's not going to make your blood sugar go wackadoo. All right, people. Any questions, comments? Please make some of these. Enjoy them. Let us know how they go and what you think of them. But we appreciate you giving your time to us today. We wish you a wonderful and a very happy Thanksgiving. And we definitely look forward to having you back next month for Christmas. All right, you guys, have a great day. We're signing out.
Many thanks to you for coming. Just please be sure for future classes to sign up. Even if you can't make it, try to sign up ahead of time so that we can get you the recipes that you need. On a second, but wait.
Amber, we couldn't hear you. It was really muffled.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Remember to sign up for future classes. I've been really encouraging everyone to sign up. I know some people work from 11 to 12 on the Fridays that we have cooking class, but it's super important that you sign up because we can email you the recipes. Anyone can attend. You don't have to be a patient. You can be a parent, a friend, anyone can sign up to that. And I think someone on the chat earlier mentioned she didn't have the recipes. So be sure to email bariatric support at slhs.org to get those recipes. And please make sure you note November 2023 for the recipes. And we should have this on St. Luke's YouTube soon. Check back early next week. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.